Okay, we've begun recording. So we got a very interesting video today. Um, Lots of people who know me know that I am probably the best rage baiter they've ever seen and ever met. And because of that, it's not something I was only just born with. I am obsessed with subcommunication, trolling, rage baiting, body language, just manipulation, seduction, all that fun stuff. So welcome to Toxic Tuesdays, being filmed on a Wednesday. And in today's video, I was gonna do a session where we watch an Andrew Wilson video that just came out, okay, 15 hours ago. They just had this debate yesterday. And the reason I was gonna do this is because I've noticed that Andrew Wilson does trigger me a little bit. And if he's good enough to trigger me, then maybe there's something I can learn from him. As much as I dislike the person, I was going to have a quick study session, and I decided to go ahead and do this recorded so you guys can maybe learn a thing or two. So consider this a group bonding study session, and let's find out and see what's going on. So Andrew Wilson is
These are speakers.
this guy over here. That's Andrew Wilson. And this is a Muslim debater, Sunni, I believe. His name is Daniel Haqiqatjou. I've seen lots of his content before. I saw the Hinduism versus Islam debate. He's a pretty good debater, not the best, but he's pretty good. He's definitely an intellectual guy, but I already have a feeling I know where this is going to go. I've seen Andrew Wilson debate before. He doesn't really debate using logic. He claims to, but he's not an actual logical person. He likes to hit. We're going to see what actually triggers me, and we're going to break it down here. So, Toxic Tuesdays, manipulation, seduction, rage baiting, trolling, persuasion, body language. These are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 topics we would be covering in every single Toxicity Tuesday video. Today, we're going to be highlighting more on the rage baiting section, but we're going to go through this together. All right, let's hope we learn a couple things. So I'm going to write rage bait. I'm not going to be editing this video, so it's going to be a longer form video. But again, this was just supposed to be a study session. And we're going to learn a lot of interesting things today. I've seen already some clips on the internet from it, so can't wait to go ahead and see how this starts. I already know this is a modern, these debates don't never start at the beginning. Daniel, we're going to skip past it. Actually, let's just see what the debate is about, and then we're going to skip and go into Andrew Wilson's opening.
The only ones who benefit from a Muslim Christian civil war right now is Israel, which is stoking hate so that they can continue their genocide of both Muslim and Christian Palestinians while they bleed America dry. Let's keep that larger context.
Let's see if I could lower the, yeah, it's 720. If I lower it, I think at a 360, it'll be easier for you guys to process. In the future, for like actual reaction videos, because this is a long form video, I'm not going to go through this whole thing. We're just going to get what he's getting. But I'll be downloading the videos 720p, so that way we don't have to deal with this buffer.
In mind. So the first slide, which is best for society, Islam or Christianity?
Okay, so that's a debate topic. Which is better for society, Islam versus Christianity? I already have a feeling I know where this is going to go as a Muslim. So obviously Daniel's going to be talking about Sharia law, and Sharia law is obviously better, but I mean, maybe the viewers don't know that, and that's not my debate topic. Versus Christianity, and I have a feeling Andrew Wilson's going to attack from the secular side, not from the actual Christian traditional values side, because I've never seen Andrew actually debate with scripture against Islam, but we'll see. Let's get past Daniel's opening. I mean, let's just zoom quick through it. Traditional Orthodox Christian values, monarchy, slavery, yes. Book bans, true. Speech, death penalty for blasphemy, this is true. Minimum marriage age of 12. I don't know if that's a problem considering the fact that he's Muslim and technically Sharia law wise. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think he should have added that because we're debating scripture. We're not debating, you know what I mean, because all of these religions have like a younger than 18 age of consent.
forms such as theocratic monarchy, the monarch's authority to define church doctrine, slavery.
And I feel like that might get clipped. Obviously, I'm not saying that we should be marrying 12-year-olds in this day and age. We live in a different society with different customs and traditions, so I think that's pretty obvious, but just in case. This is an edit he has of him, quantitative versus qualitative, different. We're gonna see. Andrew's very rude, so we should be hearing him cussing a lot. Where, okay, Daniel's opening. All right, let's finish this. Let's actually hear the last few seconds so we can get an idea.
Represents a fundamentally different paradigm, and because Islam preserves a duty-based morality rather than dissolving it, it retains the internal resources to resist the liberal atomization and technological dehumanization.
Thank you very much for that opening from Daniel.
Now, I'm not gonna try to pause too much on Andrew Wilson. We want to like hear him out. I might pause here and there, but we want to hear out what he says and then summarize what we've seen and see where is the rage bait because he always comes off pretty hard. So let's go ahead and take a look.
I've got the timer set for you, Andrew, on your first word.
Good job, man. The fun.
I have to. I have to. I know I wasn't gonna pause, but that was beautiful. Good job, man. Condescending right off the get-go. Your two best friends as a rage baiter are the following. Your number one superpower is caring less about the topic. There is no way you care more about the topic and you take it more seriously and you win the rage baiting contest. Okay? So, number one, you might want to write this down. Your two super weapons, number one is caring less. These are non-negotiables. So, number one, you must care less. And obviously, I mean, I could talk right now why Andrew cares less in a second about the topic. So, number one, care less. Number two, being condescending is your friend. So, be condescending. So quick, simple, good job, man is it's like a quick like pat on the back. Like you're doing so well. You're doing so well. We like that. That's very good. Very good rage bait. Very good trash talk. We love it. We love it. So the reason why Andrew Wilson is less he takes this less seriously is because number one, Daniel clearly, if you know Daniel, he clearly takes Islam more seriously. Like he's a devout Muslim. However, Andrew Wilson does not carry himself uh, the way a Christian should. Jesus obviously wouldn't approve of the way he talks and acts, and I think Christians can also agree with this based off of how he's probably gonna start talking right now. You'll see. You'll see. But yeah, let's go ahead and see. 1 second in. We're 1 second in, and we already have two very important points. Caring less and being condescending. I'm going to write in between parentheses your two best superpowers. All right, let's play.
One thing about debate is you get to actually get in the mind of your opponent. What? What happened? Oh.
We got some glazers in the audience. This is going to be good. This is called strategic glazing. They're not doing it on purpose, but it's a technique that I like to apply when I'm trying to rage bait someone.
The fun thing about debate is you get to actually get in the mind of your opponent. You get to study and dissect the things that they say and believe. After watching Daniel for hours, a few things became obvious. The first, he's a far better Muslim apologist than I am a Christian apologist, that's for sure. But he's far weaker.
You see that? That's him caring less. It doesn't matter to him if he's a good Christian apologist. That's not what he wants. He doesn't actually care about the topic. He's here to attack and troll, and you're going to see that.
On politics than myself and the nature of the world. The second is that he's an above average debater, but he ain't quite God tier. See?
Just him being condescending. Very beautiful. Belittling. I mean, being condescending isn't really, it just comes with practice. If you believe the words, does that make sense? If you believe that you're better, the words are going to come. Okay, you don't need to memorize these lines or write these lines down. That's a common mistake.
If I were Daniel and fighting from his worldview, I'd point out Christianity is fractured and weak, that Christianity is totally incapable of fighting back against the degeneracy of our time. Its impotence has led to
This is very strategic of him. I haven't really seen someone really do this, but what he's doing is he's saying if I were Daniel, and then he's basically emptying Daniel's ammo. He was like, if I were you, and he grabs his gun and he shoots them all to himself. To So I think the reason he's doing this is if Daniel tries to attack him on these things, he's like, yeah, I already brought that up. And he's basically taking the words out of his mouth. That's a very interesting technique in a debate, at least. So what should we write that down? I think we should. I think we should. I like this technique in a debate. That's very interesting. Or let's just see how it plays out first and if it actually proves to be effective. Or if it could be combated, and we can see if it's combated, how we can deal with that. But by no means am I siding with this Andrew guy, but we're only here to study the Ragebait.
Social categories of degeneracy at levels nobody could have predicted, especially with the advent of the internet. I would point out Muslim societies don't work that way. That Muslims have feminism and degens under control. That everything in modern day Christians in the West are fighting for against degeneracy, Islam has already achieved in their lands. That's what I would do if I were Daniel. When talking about which
That's very good. You see that little laugh? You're like, that's what I would do if I was Daniel. Basically saying, Daniel's incompetent. Here's what I would have done. This is just basic condescending behavior. The mindset, if you want to write this down, I'll write it down too. It's nice to always have on paper. The mindset, like the way to be condescending is in your head, you're competent, that person isn't. You're smart, this person isn't. He doesn't, this person is incapable of competence, same exact thing. So I'm just going to quickly write that down while we go ahead. We'll share the notes at the end.
which is better for society, Islam or Christianity, this becomes a powerful argument. But I'd go a step further if I were Daniel. I'd also say my opponent will argue like an atheist progressive. That Andrew Wilson, the guy who promotes anti-feminist and egalitarian doctrine, is going to sit up here and act like an egalitarian progressive and cry about Islam being mean to the women and cry about Islam not being very nice to the gays. Well, you were wrong. Sadly for Daniel, while this tactic would normally be
F word, bomb. Okay, condescending equals you're competent, they're not.
effective against a sewing circle Christian, I'm not part of that cast, sir.
That's the technique. That's beautiful. I'll explain what you just did in a second. You're competent, they're not. Okay, so here's what he did. This was very interesting. Okay, let's break this down. What he did is he said, if I were Daniel, and he went ahead and he emptied his chamber, and he like unleashed Daniel's ammo, which is probably what Daniel went ahead and did in his opening statement, if we were to watch. He emptied out the entire chamber. And he said, that would work on this type of person. Unfortunately for you, I'm this type of person. And he differentiated himself from that group and emptied out all of his ammo. In other words, he grabbed Daniel's gun, he shot it, emptied the rounds or whatever, and said, by the way, you didn't shoot me. You shot that guy. Absolutely beautiful. I don't know how this is going to play out, but this is less rage bait and this is more debating. So let's actually add that to the sections. We got manipulation, seduction, rage baiting. Let's just add debating. So we might learn some debating tactics, but that was beautiful, beautifully done. Yeah, I like to sniff markers. So for debating, I'll just write quick here, debate tactic. I told you guys this is going to be a long video. Debate tactic. I'm going to write empty opponent's rounds by bringing them up first. Plus bring them up first. Okay, not plus. Let's remove that plus. Bring them up first. He brought them up first. Said, and then, oh yeah. Oh yeah, and then clarifying. And clarifying. Okay, so bring them up first and clarifying the target, which isn't you. Which isn't you. Now wait, this is the final step to make it full circle. Then explain briefly why you're not that target. And what we've done is we've basically emptied his ammo. Let's keep this going.
Now, let me get into my argument for why Christianity makes better societies than Islam, and it's pretty simple. Islamic societies breed an inbred population. Next slide, please. Muslim inbreeding.
I hope he has more to it than just inbred, because it's going to be about first cousin marriage, which is pretty easy to debunk, but let's just see where he goes with this. This is a very interesting angle.
Has been occurring at a high rate for about 1,400 years since the early Islamic period, encompassing most of the land still occupied by Islam today. It spread from the 8th to the 15th century, moved into Persia, North Africa, South Asia, where it remains and has created some of the dumbest human beings on planet Earth.
Okay. Is that Ragebait? That's just basic insulting. I don't know. I don't like it. Actually, maybe because he's so wrong that it actually annoys me. But it's too early to tell what I'm feeling. Let's see where he goes with it.
The most common type of inbreeding is first cousin marriage. The rates of first cousin marriage in comparison to Christian nations is staggeringly high, even in comparison to regions occupied by Arab Christians. When a nation has both Christians and Muslims, Muslims are often double or higher than Christians. Example, India, Lebanon. Next slide, please. Muslim inbreeding. Oh, sorry about that. Pakistan at 65%. 65%, meaning more likely than not, you're having sex with your cousin, and if you're not, you're the weird one. Okay? For the low IQ members of MDD, that means these people are more likely than not.
For the low IQ members of MDD, he shot at the Muslim viewers. That's pretty nice. By the way, I think, oh wow, his opening is gonna go on for a while. Once this is done, I'm gonna, as a Muslim, just quickly debunk this very simply, and then we're gonna see how he deals with all this. But let's just see if we can get some good rage baiting techniques on paper.
Few members of MDD, that means these people are more likely than not having sex with their aunts or uncles' children.
So they're cousins?
Saudi Arabia, 50 to 58%, with an average 76 IQ. Who would have thunk it? UAE, 54%, 82 IQ. The crown jewel of the Arab world, you are more likely than not to be banging your first cousin. Iran, 40%, 80 IQ. Yemen, 45%, 62.9 IQ. Qatar, 30.
Did he just say Iran 80 IQ? Iran 80 IQ? Okay, we gotta fact check this. Iran. Let's do top countries with the highest IQ. Countries, not with the lowest. I googled it before. No, the highest, with the highest IQ. Iran? There's no way. Um, worldpopulationreview.com. Average IQ by country 2025. Yeah, this should be good. Let's see where we're at. There's no way Iran has an 80 IQ. Iran's a very smart country. That was bullshit. What is this? Oh, we got Iran here. Okay. So here's the average IQ in 2024. Let's just do 2024. Ah, look at that. Iran. There we go. We got China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Macau, South Korea, Japan, and then Iran. So basically, it's all Asians and then it's Iran. Yeah, there's no way Iran. Okay, so here it's 80. That's very interesting. What's this? Lynn Becker, 2019. As of 2024, Mr. Andrew Wilson, Iran sits above the USA on the average IQ thing. So I don't know what the fuck your point was, but even Canada, oh my God, this is tragic. Wait, wait, wait. So you mean to tell me, because this is a Buddhist country, Buddhist. I don't know where Macau is. South Korea also Buddhist or Taoism or whatever. Japan does have a Christian population, but it's also that's not the main religion. And then the first one is Iran, which has Iran probably has a 99% Muslim rate population. Singapore is also mainly Muslims. It's a Muslim country. So Muslim and sorry, Iran and Singapore. Then we have Christian countries. So that kind of disproves your whole logic there, buddy, about the IQ thing. Why do you blatantly lie? I guess that's a good. Oh, this is gonna be a little icing on the cake later. It's a Andrew Wilson getting rage baited, but let's just quickly add that quick step in. Just blatant lying about facts. That's a debate tactic. Oh, and it's also rage bait tactic. Let's just put it as rage bait. Blatantly sneak in false facts. And poor Daniel, I don't think he's gonna get it. I don't think he's gonna catch it. There's no way. Because when he said Iran, I was like, whoa, 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 Iran? Iran? But yeah, okay. Blatantly sneak in false facts. And also we're gonna say built on logical fallacies. Now here's the thing. Your third superpower as a rage baiter is logical fallacies. Okay? Andrew Wilson is the king of two things. One, logical fallacies. And three, yeah, I sniff markers. I love them. Uh, um, let me write this in all caps. Use, not only is he good at um, using logical fallacies, but he's amazing at projecting and saying, you're using logical fallacies, when his entire arguments are usually built on logical fallacies. Point one is he just tried to correlate a high inbred uh there's actually two ones that I can think of right now, but he's trying to correlate a high inbred population with low IQ. The first thing they teach you in statistics class, I took it I think in 10th grade. I took it as an elective. Statistics stats class. The first thing they taught me, lesson number one, is correlation does not equate to causation. He's trying to get a correlation and he's trying to say that it's causation. That's a logical fallacy right off the get-go. That's statistically not a fact. He's trying to, if anything, IQ is a genetic point, and I've heard Nick Fuentes touch up upon it. You'll find that the countries with the lowest IQ, if we actually Google those, that's the reason why I actually Googled it, was because of Nick Fuentes. Africans, like southern, Central Africa, lowest IQ in the world. Um, it's more of a race thing than if anything, if you want to go by that, it's closer to a race thing than an inbred thing. The fact that Iran exists with tens of millions of people, 40% inbred population, as you like to say, uh, and one of the highest IQs in the world just proves your point wrong. It's not a simple exception. Singapore is right after it, another Muslim country. So I don't know where he was going with that, but this should be easy for Daniel to defeat. I don't know what his next point is, but yeah, this is a very sad point. If he's leading with that, he's going to lose. But knowing uh, Wilson, he's not good with the facts. He's very good at being shameless, and that's why I said your first superpower as a rage baiter is to be careless. So he might just keep trying to bulldoze his way, thinking that this is a valid point, when the facts obviously are not on his side. So use logical fallacies. Another point, the second, because I said there's 2 points to it that I just needed to bring up. Um, Inbred, so as Muslims at least, we don't consider first cousin marriage to be inbred. We go by the book. Clearly, and the same thing, by the way, applies to Christianity. Clearly, Wilson is ditching the Bible for this one, because by the Bible, cousin marriage is not an inbred thing. It's not a sin. It's not condemned. None of that. The Muslims, the Christians, and the Jews all have the same rules on who you can and can't marry when it comes to that. Fathers, mothers, aunts, uncles, things like that, half sisters, stuff like that. Obviously, you can't sisters, all that. Um, the only difference is that the Jews and the Muslims continue to follow their scripture, but the Christians do not. They change it up. And this is obviously something you see throughout Christian history. That's just the facts. That's not me being rude or anything. These are public facts. So use logical fallacies, um, and sneak in lies between truth. This is how to be golden when it comes to debates. If I'm not mistaken, Daniel Haqiqatjou is a Harvard graduate in physics. He graduated with a physics degree from Harvard University, and Andrew Wilson does not have a degree. So it's actually hilarious that he's trying to use the IQ attack. But okay, let's keep it rolling.
30%, 80.8 IQ. Now, we're going to continue, right?
We can continue. I think it's also very important to note that IQ isn't the only measure of intelligence. There's different types of intelligences. But this is such a sad debate topic. Like, if that's actually his best ammo, it's really bad because the Jews, the Jews have the highest IQ and they marry their cousins. So, um, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Albert Einstein, who had probably the highest IQ at his time, 167, married his first cousin. So what are you trying to say? People with high IQs marry their first cousin? It's a really embarrassing debate point. Like it just gets worse the more you think about it. I can't believe an adult actually thought this was his best move, but we'll keep it going. The I was hoping that the debate topic would be weak because he's gonna carry this for an hour and 44 minutes. He's actually going to go on with this completely false belief where he's trying to correlate two separate things into each other. But we'll keep it going.
Oman, 36%, 78. Syria, 39%, 74 IQ. Turkey, 25%, 86 IQ. Jordan,
Secular country. I hope he doesn't put USA and the UK as Christian countries because they're not, but he probably will.
32%, 80 IQ. Egypt, 32%, 76 IQ. It goes on and on and on, and it just never gets better. Next slide, please. Thank you.
Let's take a look at the the countries with the lowest IQ. We actually have it right here. Whoops. Can we scroll the way to the bottom? Okay, Gabon's a Christian country, Angola Christian country, Benin. Again, these are all in Africa, but these are all Christian countries so far. Senegal, I'm not sure. Ivory Coast is Christian, Nicaragua Christian, Tanzania Christian, Uganda Christian. Like, what's your point here? What's your point? Togo Christian, Cameroon Muslim. Actually, no, it's mainly Christian. Let's ask Siri. What is the primary religion in Cameroon?
Christianity is the majority religion in Cameroon, with significant minorities of the adherents of Islam and traditional faiths.
Okay,
This is from Wikipedia.
if you haven't heard, Christianity is the majority religion, and then there's Islam as well. Dominican Republic Christian, Zimbabwe Christian, Ghana might be Muslim, not sure. You have Palestine. I wonder why their IQ is so low. Honduras Christian, Paraguay Christian, Puerto Rico Christian, Venezuela Christian, El Salvador Christian, Kenya Christian, Guatemala Christian, Nigeria Christian. Like, this is such a sad debate topic. Laos Christian, Bolivia Christian, Brazil Christian, Yemen Muslim, Colombia Christian, Indonesia Muslim. Wow, Indonesia's down here. Pakistan Muslim, Tajikistan Muslim, Saudi Arabia Muslim. But did you see how many at the bottom are Christian? Like, all these countries prove him wrong. Wait, is that Sudan? I mean, Sudan also. Oh, these are like countries where we don't have data on. Yeah, we don't have data on North Korea, Afghanistan, Sudan. Sudan, I wouldn't assume is very high because again, war-torn country. Mali as well. I wouldn't see as high. Yeah, makes sense. Also, war-torn country. The Mali Empire was amazing until the British came in there and messed everything up. But yeah, we don't really have a lot of these. Chad's obviously a Christian country. South Sudan's the Muslim part. So yeah, again, war-torn country. So you can't really count that. Libya. Okay, so these are the ones where we don't have 2024 grading in. But as you can see, You can't just sit there and say that Islamic countries are the ones that are low on the IQ scale because they're inbred. What do you have to say about all these countries? But yeah, let's carry it on, I guess. I really hope Daniel just blows this thing out the water, but I feel like he won't.
Compared to Christian countries, whoo, let's take a look. Usually less than 1%. Now, I wonder why Christians build better societies, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's keep going. We want to pull up the slide here, moving right along. As countries become more Christian, inbreeding declines. Right? We can see this from church intervention in Spain. 20 to 30% post-Reconquista, Catholic Church banned cousin marriages for commoners. Papal dispensations sold for royals. Italy, similar high rates in the medieval period. The church enforced ban.
Iran has a higher IQ than Spain. Singapore has a higher. Wait, Iran 40% inbred rate has a higher IQ than Spain. So your point, like, I'm confused.
Over the century, France, high medieval. Canon law prohibited marriage within 4 degrees of relation. Modern Western Europe, it's not just the cultural norm, but let me tell you exactly how much of a cultural norm it is. Even in European nations where marrying your first cousin is legal, they don't do it because of the ecclesiology. Isn't that wild? Africa shows the more Christians and less Muslim the societies become, the better they do. Let's just take a look at Nigeria. Okay, we can go down the list here. 50% Nigeria, 20 to 30% first cousin marriage. Isn't that crazy? Now let's move right on down. You can see South Africa, Muslim 1.5%, very low on to negligible in the national prevalence of cousin.
High homicidal rates. Homicide capital of the world. Is that not a... Okay, whatever.
Whew.
So a lot of the rage rate I'm seeing so far is just a little bit of taunting, lots of logical fallacies, and sneaking in lots of lies within little truth. The taunting is good. I think we should write taunting down. Sprinkle taunting / jokes. Like acting like you're a comedian. Sprinkle. Because imagine someone's acting like he's taunting you, he's acting like he knows what he's talking about, but everything he's saying is wrong. You know? So that's very beautiful. Sprinkle taunting with jokes. So if you ever want to get good at debating, even if you're debating a losing argument, Andrew Wilson, watch a bunch of his podcasts. For the most part, he does really good. When he went against the Muslim Lantern, he got rage baited really badly. Do you guys, let's actually take a look at it right now. It's pretty funny.
Like I said. And I also hope that we keep like good discourse with one another because I'm not going to insult him. And so I hope that he doesn't do that with me as well, specifically and personally.
No, I made the agreement that I would not insult you personally, and I most certainly will not.
Andrew, does that sound? Does everything sound fair? And also his what he's saying about like too many times insulting. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah.
A few moments later.
Create new conditional dummy. That's not how it works.
We also said we weren't going to insult you. We said we weren't going to do the insults either, Andrew.
It's not an insult if it's true.
We said we weren't going to do the ad hominem attacks.
And neither one of you be lying.
We also agreed to not do the insulting and ad homs, Andrew.
Come on, I call my friends all the time, Sneeko.
Okay, we're not friends.
That's Christianity.
And you have Muslim Lantern in the back. See, that's Christianity. That's Christianity. They rage baited him so badly.
We said that we weren't going to do the cursing and we weren't going to get uncivil like this. We're not going to continue this if you can't be civil and curse and do this stuff.
That is comical. This is comical. It's called Andrew Tate Wilson Loses His Mind. You can literally search up the full video. I watched it. It was 1 hour or 59 minutes. And it's like the first 10 minutes, Andrew Wilson's trying to like get permission to insult the pedophile. Sorry. He was trying to call the prophet like a pedophile, even though, again, he's Christian and we have the same laws on age of consent. But again, Andrew Wilson's known for throwing his morals out the bus and siding with atheism when it suits him. just to win a debate. And that's always, obviously, that goes back to your first superpower as a rage baiter. You need to care less about the subject, your morals, all that. You need to throw it out the window. If you really just want to win a debate, that has an objective losing position. So let's carry this on. But he really got pressed on that video, I remember.
You can look at the list. It's pretty comprehensive. We can continue to go, right? The bottom 20 least productive sub-Saharan African countries. Wouldn't you know it, they're all Muslim. 99% Muslim.
That's not true if we actually look at the IQ. If he wants to go by IQ, that's what he wants to do, but okay.
In Somalia. Whew, very high. 60% first cousins. Anybody ever hear a joke about Somalian IQ? Let's look.
Oh, I graduated the Somali 2 weeks ago. It was so fun. There's something wrong with Somalis. I'm sorry. Actually, I like Somalis, but the IQ most of the time isn't the strong suit, especially with the men. Obviously, you have your outliers, but for the most part, no.
Over at Niger, 99% Muslim, 60% cousin marriage. First cousin marriage. Let's take a look at Muslims when we're taking a look at Malil. It's a 90% population.
Malil?
In other words, everywhere
Mali
goes, the IQ goes like this because they all are their cousins.
You can't make this shit up. Again, lowest IQs for anyone that's zooming in through the video. Take a screenshot and search up the religions of these places. You'll see the majority are Christian. So,
not joking. Go over to the next slide, please. I want to show you this is a famous case. These are called the rat people of Pakistan. It's a condition.
oh my God, he's pulling up the rat people. Wow. Wow. That's chef's kiss. The rats people is a genetic mutation. It was horrifying to look at. There's a lot of theories on how they actually came up about, but for him to equate that to cousin marriage is sad. But okay, more lying, I guess.
As microphalics, I think I'm pronouncing that right. I have no idea, and it's caused by excessive inbreeding. When's the last time you went to a European country and saw that? You don't see it.
You don't see it in any other country as well, so it was just Pakistan.
Now, hang on. Next slide, please. As we continue, let's just take a look here at the casual link between cousin humping and low IQ. Basically, there's increased homozygosity, I think that's how it's pronounced, for deleterious recessive genes, and it is the strongest causal link for why the IQs are so low. Genetic risk. Inbreeding raises the chances of inheriting 2 copies of harmful recessive genes. Brain development impact, harmful genes.
I believe we searched this up before. Actually, I think it's time for me to explain something. Last thing, again, I want to focus more on the rage baiting techniques, but I just also want to show you guys how stupid this argument is. He's supposed to be Christian for this debate, not atheist, okay? So, does a Christianity... Let's just ask... Well, I actually want to ask about Daniel Haqiqatjou's education. Okay, so Daniel Haqiqatjou did graduate from Harvard University as a physics major, and he had a minor degree in philosophy, okay? And Wilson did not, I don't think he finished. I don't know if he went to college and dropped out, but he definitely didn't finish, no degrees. And Andrew Wilson did found his own university. He calls it Debate University. So he's good at the debating thing. That's where he found himself in, but not the education thing. Okay, so does the Bible forbid cousin marriage? This is ChatGPT. You can ask them yourselves. What I asked word for word was, is cousin marriage not allowed in the Bible? And if it is, if it was something that was changed in Christianity later after Jesus, how long did it take the Christians to change these rulings? Here's the breakdown. No, the Bible does not forbid cousin marriage. In fact, many major biblical figures marry their cousins. Examples, we have Isaac marrying his first cousin, Rebecca, who was also 3. Jacob married his 2 first cousins. Moses' father Amran married his aunt. Obviously, this is just the biblical version. The Quran came to actually clean these things up. Like Amran did not marry his aunt. That is not a thing. Um, Alhamdulillah for Islam. And then the law of Moses lists forbidden relatives, but cousins are not listed. So they forbid the mother, stepmother, sister, half-sister, granddaughter, aunt, daughter-in-law, sister-in-law, etc. Cousins are not forbidden. By the way, Islam and Judaism have the same exact rulings. So biblically, cousin marriage is fully permitted. Did Jesus ever forbid cousin marriage? No, Jesus never addressed the issue at all. You'd think if cousin marriage was this, the be all end all and the reason why, uh, the reason why people have low IQs and it's bad and it ruins society, you'd think that Jesus would bring it up, right? He's your God. He would totally bring up that point. But no, he didn't. So clearly it wasn't that relevant. So, yeah. The only things Jesus spoke about regarding marriage was no adultery, no divorce except for infidelity. Marriage is between one man and one woman. Hear that? One man, one woman, not one man, one man. He never mentions cousin marriage. When did Christianity start banning cousin marriage? This is where it gets interesting. Historically, Christians added restrictions hundreds of years after Jesus, not immediately. For the first 300 years, no restriction on cousin marriage. So all your church fathers were completely cool with marrying their cousins. Yeah. Christianity added restrictions hundreds of years. Wait, sorry. Christians followed Jewish norms and Roman civil law, which allowed cousins to marry. Then the Catholic Church appears and it starts adding some bans. Around 400 AD, the church first discouraged cousin marriage but didn't outright ban it. Then from 500 to 1200, the Catholic Church massively expanded the rules, banning marriage all the way out to the 7th degree of kinship. So that means cousins, second cousins, third cousins, even people only related by marriage weren't allowed to marry each other, even though there was no blood relation. This was extremely strict. It had nothing to do with the Bible. It was a church decision. I'm reading what ChatGPT is saying. It says it had nothing to do with the Bible. It was a church decision. Big change in 1215 AD at the Fourth Lateran Council. The church relaxed the rule back a bit to the 4th degree. Oh, okay, sorry, to the 4th degree. Basically, that means that first cousins are still forbidden, second cousins are allowed, third cousins are allowed. Okay, and it's been like that ever since. But obviously, this is nothing in scripture. This is just Christians following the church and hoping the church knows more than God. Yeah. Why did the church add these bans if the Bible didn't? So historians agree on several reasons. Political power. The church used marriage regulations to control noble families and land inheritance. Preventing large family alliances, banning cousin marriage forced people to marry outside their clan, reducing tribal power. So this was more strategic and political. Um, No biblical bias. These rules were administrative, not theological. What about modern Christianity? Now they differ. So in the Catholic Church, cousin marriage is allowed with a special dispensation in the Catholic Church. So they're allowing it. It's a trend. It's in and it's out. Is cousin marriage in? Is it out? Eastern Orthodox typically forbids the first cousin marriage, but allows more distant cousins. And Protestants still allow, it says right here, most Protestant groups allow cousin marriage without issue. So there you go. And American states are completely different because they vary by civil law and not religion, because America is not a Christian country, even though he'll try to claim that. The summary, biblical law allowed, Jesus never addressed it, early Christians allowed. And if you never addressed it, then there's no problem with it, by the way. That's how it works. He's a devout Jew, which means he believed it was completely fine. The most perfect man in the world, as you guys like to say, not said, but believed it was perfectly fine. If you guys want to do some plays with ChatGPT, ask it, would Jesus have approved of the marriage between the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and Aisha, and watch your minds get blown. But let's keep going.
Can impair neurodevelopment, reducing cognitive potential. IQ reduction evidence: first cousin offspring lose 3 to 4 points on average, and closer inbreeding.
I really hope Daniel brings up the Jew point, though. I'm very curious on how this is going to turn up. I was supposed to make this video quicker, but
Reading can cause larger deficits. They've been at it for 1,400 years. Whew. Higher prevalence equals greater risk. Populations with widespread cousin marriage show
not just 1400 years. They've technically, us as humanity, we've been at it for thousands of years. Cousin marriage has never been an issue.
more individuals with lower cognitive performance. Generational compounding over successful generations. Harmful genes accumulate. One of the big Muslim copes you'll hear from Daniel tonight. Well, it's only 1.5% for genetic problems for normal people who aren't having sex with their first cousin. Well, that's true. He says it only doubles to 3%. That's very low. No, it compounds. See, if you hump your first cousin and then those kids hump their first cousin and their kids are et cetera, et cetera, et cetera down the line, guess what happens to your IQ?
I think he's reaching. He's definitely reaching. Think about it. This should be studied. Parent, whatever, they produce a kid, two kids. They produce kids. And then they marry. And then they have to marry their cousins for this compounding thing to work. So that means that person has to have his own kid, and they have to have their own kid, and then they marry. That's not compounding. It's compounding in reverse. You've split it. You've split the risk even more because they're not really. This is the first cousin, but it's not. That doesn't come from your first cousin technically directly. Like there's a split happening here. So you've minimized the risk, but again, this guy's been lying since the beginning. I think Daniel's getting a little annoyed, but we'll see how he keeps going with it. I think it's the conviction that really sells it. When you're being conned to something, you need to be convicted, like have conviction. But we already know this. We don't need to write that down unless if you want to.
IQ. Guess what? You'll never guess. Anybody got a guess? It goes down. The negative consequences of a low IQ.
That's also false because IQ's actually risen across the years. So I don't know how he's coming out with this. With this logic, 1400 years ago, when we were not marrying our cousins, which was not true, they've been marrying at it even before Islam. Um, that's why all of our books come with restrictions because they were also marrying their aunts and stuff like that. Anyways, think about it. If it's going down through all these cousin marriages, that's compounding, and we're now at 75, 80, like he's trying to claim. That means we started out like what, 400, 600 IQ?
80 IQ versus 100 IQ person. Income 50 to 70% lower. Welfare dependency 4 to 6 times higher. Literacy less than 10% at less than 85 IQ. Obesity up almost 2 times. Chronic disease up almost 2.5 times. Life expectancy less than 70 IQ.
I think there's a lack of self-awareness here, but
10 years. Why? Because, well, you might just look down the barrel of that shotgun when you're cleaning it. Moving over, arrests and incarcerations 3 to 8 times higher. Violent offenses 4 to 6 times higher. Teen pregnancy 3 times higher. Child neglect and abuse 3 to 7 times higher.
Teen pregnancy, that's not an issue where we live. Okay.
Intergenerational poverty 4 to 6 times. Almost every study available shows that IQ entering the low 80s, Muslim countries, affects nearly every aspect of life in a negative way. Economic prospects, criminality, mental, physical health, happiness metrics, and both at the individual and societal level. In fact, study shows that when a country has a sub-90 IQ average, they find it difficult to have basic innovation, infrastructure, professional class, and other basic needs of a functional society.
Yeah, that explains most of Africa and South America.
Now, here's the thing that's interesting. Modern societies don't require everyone to be a genius. Just look at me. But they do rely on the distribution
So
of
humble.
abilities, and you can see their roles below. 70 to 85, basic job, practical skills, routine labor. That's Islam. That's almost every Islamic nation, ladies and gentlemen, 70 to 85. Sometimes up to 2 standard deviations lower.
70 to 85, right?
100 would be skilled labor administrative support, 100 to 115 professional middle management,
70 to 85?
Scientists, doctors, specialized roles.
Really?
Things they desperately need that they get from us. 130 plus innovation, leadership, higher
Bangladesh
goals, problem
96.
Next slide, please. Inbreeding
Kuwait
itself over generations
95,
causes
Qatar 95.
massively compounds that lead to
What is
negative
he talking about?
consequences.
Where's this
And you
75?
can see the risk curve there. You see how it, I mean, the genetic defects increase every single generation.
This is way
Moving
off.
over, I just want to point this out on the last slide. Islam took an ethnic people.
All right. So actually, wait, let's play that really quickly, and then what I want is to speed up to like after Daniel's rebuttal. We'll see briefly what he says because I'm actually quite curious, and then we're actually going to see how he responds to the rebuttal because Andrew's very good at the responding again because he's about to get wiped to the floor with, but we'll see what he we'll see what he says in return.
That were at the heart of being the top of civilization. And through generations of Islam and inbreeding has turned them into the lowest IQ, some of the stupidest people on planet Earth. Literally. You think I'm being mean? I'm not. They're literally some of the stupidest people on planet Earth.
So did you see that in the beginning? He said that Islam took an ethnic group of people that were on the brink. This is not true. Islam, obviously, the facts are they originated from desert people in Quraysh, where there was no civilization of any sort. Extreme hunger, extreme poverty. So again, this is based off of nothing.
Earth. Everywhere Islam goes, inbreeding increases and societies become worse. Where Christianity goes, inbreeding decreases, so societies do better.
Where's Christianity growing? Right now they're dying off. The religion is actively getting quieter. Less people. Islam is the #1 growing religion on the planet. I'm actually very curious, like Islam population versus Christian population. Let's see where we're at now, because we're almost there, I'm pretty sure. We're definitely almost close. 25.6%. Oh, that's Wikipedia though. It's kind of hard to tell. Let's do Islam versus Christianity. We can, yeah, maybe we can see there. So Christians still the largest. They're around 2.3 to 2.6. Muslims are around 1.9 to 2 billion. Okay. Not bad. Not bad at all. Love it. And then Hinduism, India's really pulling it. And then religiously unaffiliated. So obviously from those, we're probably going to get like another 10%, right? 190, 200-ish million, and we're at 2 billion. We're getting there. Give it another 3-4 years. We should be #1.
Thank you very much for that opening as well.
You guys had a 600-year head start. Okay.
I wanted to quickly take a moment to say in the value. If you're going, your phones are on silent, and also please do refrain from recording or streaming any footage other than if it's TikTok length, that's fine. But we're going to kick it into 5-minute rebuttals. First with Dan.
Predicted, you argued like a libtard. This falls into exactly what I predicted. You argued like a libtard. How? You're saying that success is on the basis of IQ. Well, how are you going to argue tomorrow when you debate with an atheist that Christian IQ is higher than secular atheist IQ? In fact, the atheist IQ is much higher than Christian IQ. So your entire standard for judging Islam applies just as much to Christianity. And tomorrow when you're debating the atheist, you'll have to concede that your Christian religion is associated or correlated.
Okay, so Daniel's setting himself up. He's obviously speaking facts, right? These are all facts. But that's not how you go against a rage baiter because the rage baiter doesn't care. The way you do it is you need to buy into it, right? You need to actually explain why. I would honestly, #1, I'd start by going for, okay, if we're gonna ignore the fact, and I'd do the same kind of thing that he did, okay? What he did is he took all the ammo that this guy had and he shot at someone else. So he said, well, you had a weak debate, and I'll tell you why. You had a weak position. I'm again just going on based off my head right here, using this new skill that we've learned. Well, you have a kind of weak position, I'll say. First off, if we're going to go based off of IQ and we're going to ignore all the different forms of intelligence because obviously you know that there's more than one type of intelligence, don't you, Mr. Wilson? Something like that to just get your footing back in there. He's been very condescending from the beginning. Obviously, Daniel's a very humble guy. I don't think he's going to bring up the fact that he's a Harvard graduate and this guy is a no one, but we'll go ahead and move with that. If we're going to go based off of IQ, you need to attack your masters, the Jews, who also have intercourse with their cousins, marry their cousins, who also have a high IQ and completely put all your argument to shame. I'd ask him to apologize to his masters for going out of line and attacking something that the Jews also do, but we'll just see how he goes with it. There's a lot of different points. He can, number one, prove that he was lying the entire time and just prove up the points, but I don't know if Googling is allowed. So, but yeah, that Iran thing, when he quoted it on, I was baffled. I was like, what the Judaism thing works, the fact that the lowest IQ countries in the world works, the fact that he's correlating and he's equating that to causation, which is a basic. Obviously, if he went to college, he'd know that. Not even college, if he actually paid attention in high school, he'd know that correlation doesn't equate to causation. But we'll see how he goes through with this angle. I don't really like this angle. I think Wilson's going to be easy to move past it and say that, oh, you're not answering my question or you're not denying it or something like that. You need to, what you need to go ahead and do is defeat him in his own point.
Lower IQ. Therefore, atheism or secularism is better for society because it raises IQ. So that's one point.
You see Danny's Andrew Wilson's face. I keep forgetting his name. Yeah, again, so what he's doing, the reason why I don't like this tactic is what he's saying is, well, these guys are above you. So, yeah, you may be above us, but these guys are above you. Number one, call him out on the bullshit and say, you're not above us. You're actually below us. Here's the IQ test. Like I'd show the fact that the smartest countries in the world after Asians, boom, Islam. You got Islam right afterwards with the 40% inbred. So it completely invalidates your point. I mean, look at this. We got Indians smarter than Israel. So do with that information what you will. I don't know what to say.
Number two, where in the Bible does it restrict cousin marriage? This, as you acknowledged, is a later papal decree. It was not a part of Jesus' teachings. Jesus didn't come out and say, hey, if you want to have a successful society...
in the audience, I do want to ask you to keep it down so we can hear the speaker.
Jesus didn't say, oh, hey, if you want success and you want to have a prosperous society...
You see that face? He doesn't care. He's not here to debate scripture. Again, I know the way Wilson debates. He doesn't actually, he's not subscribed to actual scripture. He doesn't care about that. Because if he takes it to scripture, he's not going to win. And he's here to win the debate. So he's not here to actually search for truth.
You shouldn't marry your cousin. Jesus never had this apparently essential Christian teaching that is the key to success on earth. That's your whole argument against Islam, and it's found nowhere in Jesus' teaching.
The key to success.
It's found nowhere in the
Don't marry your cousin.
It was something that came later. And also, when it was decreed that cousin marriage is considered to be incest, it wasn't on the basis of IQ. This is something that you have adopted from who? From atheists, from secularists, from those who are doing secular science to discover these medical problems or IQ levels. So your entire standard for judging Islam is not a Christian standard. It's not a biblical standard. It's not an Orthodox church standard. This is coming only from atheists, from atheistic science.
Look at that sponsorship. Sponsored by the Mujahideen, which means the Mujahids. Defeating high IQ countries since 1979.
Second of all, if IQ is such end-all be-all, Christian societies, if you bring up a country list of countries by IQ, many Christian countries are on the bottom there.
That's true.
I don't know if you consider them to be true Christians because they're not white, but they're also at 80 IQ, 70 IQ. Look at Sub-Saharan Africa, look at Latin America, look at the Philippines. It's also comparable with Muslim countries. Do you consider them to be Christian?
Why would you say that, dude? Comparable with Muslim countries? Like, that's what I'm saying. Dude, I remember, I was younger though. I remember Singapore had the highest IQ in the world when I was younger. Like, what's your point?
Or not. Also, go back to the Middle Ages. IQ was much lower.
He's giving cope, and again, he's speaking facts, but it's also in a debate sense, it sounds like cope, and that's why he's going to get destroyed right now.
In the Middle Ages, in Christian societies. Why that?
This guy's whole argument is cousin marriage when Christianity doesn't even prohibit it. Now they do. Remember, they changed the rules now. Well, actually, it depends on what kind of Christian you are. When debating a 304s, Andrew turns into a priest, but when he's debating a Muslim, he becomes the ultimate woke liberal. The irony of valuing high IQ yet having the dumbest argument possible. I tell him, explain how the highest IQ individual at his time, Albert Einstein, married his first cousin, and why the race with the highest IQ, Jews, marry their first cousins. And watch him just be quiet. Like, what else is he gonna say to that? Well, um, I'm trying to think for him. What would you say in that scenario? But okay. Again, what he's doing is he's trying to bring Andrew put himself up here. Daniel's down here because this is how he did it. And Daniel is trying to pull him down with him instead of say, actually, you're wrong. We're on the same level or above you. Your logic is completely flawed. So relax. He's trying to like say, well, actually, you're kind of like us. He's trying to bring him down. You know, that's not how you shut down an argument.
That has changed is because of the Flynn effect. IQ has increased globally over the world, across the world because of
Exactly. They've increased globally. That makes exact sense.
the Flynn effect. So if you have a problem, again, with lower IQ, look at medieval or middle-aged Christian societies. And also, here's another big problem. IQ is also linked with race. So if you want to prioritize high IQ, you should discourage interbreeding between races. Why should higher average IQ from Asians or whites or Jews?
No, Asians are on top. Like that's very clear right here. You got China and Hong Kong like dominating the field on their own. You got Taiwan, you got Macau, you got South Korea. I'm surprised that Singapore is below Iran. But I mean, if we look at 2019, I don't know what this is still, the average IQ Lin/Becker. This is IIT. I'm not really big on that, but I don't really know what's going on. But yeah, check this out. You got 106, sorry, 80 versus 106. Like these are the like big numbers. It goes Asians first when it comes to IQ. They're very logical when it comes to that sort of intelligence.
Jews or whatever race that has a higher average IQ,
Not high on the
Christianity
emotional
encourages
intelligence.
or allows interbreeding between the races. That will result in a lower IQ. So you should be against that because that's going to, over time, lower the average IQ of society. So that should be something that you need to oppose to be consistent. Interracial marriage or interracial breeding should be contrary to your point.
Another debate tactic is straight up don't. Here's the thing. I know that he's not going to attack, like he's not going to respond to all these points. So a quick debate tactic, we're going to write this down. Don't respond to valid points. Just wait. Valid points, comma, attack the weakest. This is a common Sun Tzu Art of War technique. He had some weak points where one, he was like, well, actually Christians just like us also have IQs like the Muslims. That was terrible. I don't know why he said that. He shot himself in the foot there. So I'm going to write attack one, and I'm going to write in between parentheses Art of War. So what I wrote right now is don't respond to valid points, attack the weakest points, Art of War. And I wrote debate tactic. Okay? So he's going to go for that, and he's going to say the fact that he didn't even dispute that Muslims are dumb. That's what I would do in his case, since Daniel was playing more defense than offense here.
Contrary to your position.
And obviously the way for Danny to take this is to do something called cornering. So when I debate Hindus, they like to do this hopscotch thing where they hop around. You got to corner them into one spot. So once they do one lie, grab it put it and make sure they don't run away from it. Keep bringing it back to that point until they admit that they're lying, or it's very obvious because they don't actually want to admit it. Um, but it's very obvious to everyone that that was a lie, and this is a valid point, and this is why they'll try to squeal. They'll try to weasel their way out of weak points. But there's a lot of he's letting him get away basically. Daniel right now he's letting him get away with a lot of points, and you're gonna see in the response it's not gonna be very pretty.
Also, yeah, I mean, I'm just shocked that your entire argument about why Christianity is better than Islam is a cousin marriage argument. That's like shocking.
Me too.
Because it just works so far against you. So, if IQ is the end all be all of what makes a society good, then Christianity loses to atheism and secularism. Like, case closed. So,
And Judaism, who also very they're cousins. Again, I don't know why you're not bringing up Judaism. Come on, Andrew. Come on. Daniel. Sorry, I'm so bad with the names.
like, and many Christian societies are low IQ, as in the same way as certain Muslim countries. The thing about the difference between me and you is my values are based on marriage, family.
No, no. Why? You're no. You're coping. Right now you're coping. He's gonna be like, ah, he doesn't care about IQ.
Atheistic values of IQ and intelligence.
It's basically he doesn't say IQ is important. Just watch, just watch.
5 minutes.
That was the wrong thing to say.
Libtard value. Don't your first cousin. Libtard. Let me just point out that Daniel Haqiqatjou didn't actually rebut any of my arguments.
I know
single one. My argument was simple.
That's a very good Ragebait technique. Just saying, he didn't do that. He didn't even do any of that, even though he just did.
Did here again. Yep. The argument is that your society has to rely on the benevolence of mind to exist because of your general.
My someone close to us just died. Wow. All right, let's keep going.
General IQ.
Okay, that sounded insensitive. Let me pause the stream real quick. Someone just died. All right, we're done. So let's go ahead and finish this up. I think we got what we need to get from this thing. I'm gonna go ahead for like 10, 15 more minutes maybe, and we're about an hour in, so it's gonna be an hour 20-ish minute long video or something. We'll see, we'll see.
You see, remember how I told you the 70 to 85 is basic jobs, practical skills, routine labor? That's most Muslim societies, sir. Doesn't matter if you point out 2 exceptions to the rule. Even in those societies in which Christians have a lower IQ, guess
2 exceptions to the rule? What? There's more than 2 exceptions to this rule, but okay. And on top of that, let's just say 70-85 is working class. Majority of people are working class. So what are you talking about? Well, let's just keep going.
That's what you find. Their interbreeding rates are going down, and when you compare them to the same Arab population where they're inbreeding, that section of the population, the IQ is always lower. So what's my argument here?
That section of the population, he has no proof of that.
My argument is that Christian societies are better because they lower inbreeding, which collectively takes your IQ so far down the rabbit trail that you end up having to beg the higher IQ individuals for protection from them. You have
From them? What? You have to beg them? So beg the Christians not to hurt them. That doesn't make Muslim societies worse. That makes Christian societies bad, right? Because they're the oppressors.
Have to bank on their benevolence. Imagine this guy is banking on the
benevolence. Okay. Jews, again, no.
Benevolence of Christians who have a high enough IQ to basically eradicate all of the Middle East. There's nothing they can do about it.
Really? This is good, right? So just lying. I guess this is what annoys me, just lying. I think the reason I get, like, I don't like him is because I care about the subjects he debates about, right? He debates about Islam, so that's obviously a huge part of my identity. So That's what it is. There's nothing really special to it. It's just a lot of ignorance, condescending, and he doesn't care that much because he's on the offensive. Um, in a debate, in a rage debate, you always want to be on the aggressive side. You don't want to be on the back foot. This applies to almost all fights.
And they're banking on that benevolence while telling you all that you're immoral.
Now, if you can't win the aggressive side, this is what Muslim Millington does very good, is he asks questions and he acts clueless. So, what are you talking about? What do you mean by that? Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. Where did he get that? Oh, but you said this. That's not what this says. This says this. Maybe you got confused. Can you explain more? Okay, where did you get that? When you play defense, you gotta fully commit to defense. Otherwise, if you can, it's way much better. It's way better to go for offense.
Immoral. This is not an atheist
Let's write it
argument.
down. Let's write it down.
Far and away, well, the argument here is based around what it is that we're discussing. And what are we discussing? Which makes for better societies, right? Christianity or Islam? How can you claim you have better societies, sir, when half of your societies are so inbred their IQs are like borderline retarded? How? How could this possibly be of benefit? And you know what they do when they go to other countries?
Don't be
They
on
keep
that.
doing it. They keep doing it. Now he says, well, if you value IQ more than all other values, who said anything about that? The debate is not about that. It's about which makes for better societies. Now, which society would you rather live in? Would you rather live in a society of donkey pull cart, right? Donkey
Philippines.
pull cart, because we're not smart enough to make cars. We're not
Thailand.
smart enough to even have infrastructure because we're at 70 IQ, 80 IQ, borderline retarded individuals. That's a society. Who's moving there? Who's moving? Nobody. They're all moving here. Why? Because they want the societies that Christians have. By the way, let me point a couple other things out.
Here is America, which isn't a Christian society, but okay.
No, Christians are not stupid. Yes, their IQs are much higher, much, much higher. Even in non-white areas, they're much higher, sir, because they don't inbreed. And it's very frowned upon.
No proof. If most
Interestingly
act
enough,
clueless
let
and
me
ask
point this out,
questions.
that Christians have a much smarter enemy. Much smarter enemy. You're right, they do have a high IQ. You need high IQ people to combat that with these values. Islam can make no inroads.
That's not true. The Europeans were going into Africa. Very huge IQ difference because, again, African countries don't really have that high of an IQ. Obviously not North African. We're talking about Central Africa.
They don't have the technology. They can't mount an.
The whites were going against the Native Americans. God knows what kind of IQ they had. So this is not, again, just lies, lies, lies. His whole argument's a house of cards. I think I've gotten everything I need here. Let's take a look at our notes. We have care less, be condescending. These are your two biggest superpowers. Your number one best tool is using logical fallacies and sneak in lies between truth. Sprinkle taunting with jokes. To be condescending, the mindset is you're competent, they're not. A good debate tactic is to empty your opponent's rounds by bringing them up first and clarifying the target, which isn't you. Then explain briefly why you're not the target. Blatantly sneak in false facts built on logical fallacies. We already wrote that. Don't respond to valid points. Attack the weakest points. Art of War. Offense first. Don't be on the back foot. If must, act clueless and ask questions. Then find your opening. I think we've done a great job today. Let's play it a few more minutes, maybe.
Invasion? They can't even make a power plant, right? How are they going to do that? Daniel, what's your big plan? His big plan is to bank on the fact that there's enough suicidal empathy in the West to keep on importing Muslims. That's about it. That's it. That could be his only plan. These people can't make armies. That requires massive organization and mobilization. You think that these people could ever attack the West?
These people can't make armies. Obviously wrong. If we look at the top 10, we'll have a few Muslim countries in there. But besides that, why would we, like, that's the whole point of society. Like, we're supposed to be peaceful, right? This is the debate is. He's talking about war and who's able to conquer who. That's not a good society.
It's a laughable prospect. He started with Zionism. He has 10 million Jews in his backyard. They can't do shit about it. Nothing.
I know what Daniel's already thinking. He's like, they're ruling your country. They're messing up your economy. Inflation's
1 billion versus 10 million. They can't do anything.
2 billion.
They launched their entire missile payload. It does nothing because of the IQ difference in these regions. The IQ difference is so wide that if they even tried to collectivize, it would still be done, and they know it. And they can't collectivize anyway because it requires a high enough IQ to follow orders. Okay?
No, that's the whole point of following orders. You don't need to think, but okay.
So that's my argument. My argument basically is very
It's
simple.
so sad.
You have to have
Wow.
high enough IQ to have a society to begin with. Christians make it by lowering everywhere they go. You, your family members, my God. Back to you, Daniel.
With that, we have 60 minutes of open dialogue. Though the open dialogue is broken into 90-second segments, just to be sure there's no interruptions. Daniel, we're ready for you for your first 90 seconds.
Sure. So he said that I didn't address his argument that Muslims rely on Christian benevolence because Christians have such high IQ that they could just technologically eliminate Muslims whenever they wanted. Well, Christians are at the mercy of atheists. Christians are at the mercy of higher IQ atheists. Christians are at the mercy of higher IQ Ashkenazi Jews. Christians are at the mercy of China and Asia. If you want to make a might makes right argument, then we're in the same boat, buddy. Muslims and Christians are closer together in the same boat compared to these other groups. So this is a self-defeating argument. Also, AI. AI is going to eliminate this so-called advantage of IQ. AI
This is a lot of cope.
is making it irrelevant. I don't know why you're laughing.
It's true, but it's cope.
AI is going to eliminate a
Taunting
biological
laughs.
IQ difference
Add that in.
between different races, between different religions, between different countries. So that's a big problem for this kind of IQ argument. You're talking about people moving to the higher IQ West. Well, you have Christians from Latin America migrating en masse in the millions, 10 million over the past 5 years, coming into the United States. They're coming from Christian countries to the U.S. So you think that they're coming because it's a Christian country, or is it because of economic?
Again, I hate that Daniel is allowing a lot of false logic. You have to negate all of his attacks. The IQ thing is wrong. Correlation does not equate to causation, so that dude, if you wanted to keep this simple, like KISS, the concept of KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Come on, Daniel. He says all of this stuff. You're like, nope, correlation does not equate to causation, but if you really want to do that, it has a 40% inbred rate, and they're the fifth smartest country in the world, IQ-wise. So your entire argument falls flat there. What else is there to talk about? Oh, right, you said nothing else. Go ahead. That's it. He's like, oh, well, this and this and this. No, no, whoa. The United States is not a Christian country. That's a fact. What's he gonna do now? Like what? So it's very nice. It's very nice that we're playing around with this.
Opportunity.
Don't give them this benefit. Like, what do you mean, Christian? Oh my God.
And many people actually prefer to live in these countries. You have people in the U.S. being passport pros and living in South America because they're tired of this shithole United States. Unfortunately, what it's become, despite the high IQ.
90 seconds.
Why is that, Andrew? Explain it.
We'll switch over to Andrew. I want to remind you folks, please do self-regulate so that we don't have difficulty hearing the speaker. With that, Andrew, the floor is yours.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you can make that argument. There are some high IQ Christian nations that move to even higher IQ Christian nations, but none of them move to Muslim nations. You're not getting anybody to move over there, Daniel, because you don't have...
Because we don't allow it. We won't allow it. We will not allow it. We're not stupid enough to allow it. Good luck trying to get a Khadiji passport.
Civilization. You can't create civilizations. He says AI is going to come along and solve it all. You
Civilizations.
got to be smart enough to use the AI, Daniel.
Not really.
You have
It's
to
not that
be
hard.
smart enough to use the AI. Remember, 70 to 85. That's your societies. 70 to 85. Basic jobs, practical skill, routine labor. Doesn't sound like a bunch of automation, robot building, AI savvy.
Before we go, by the way, there's a 1001 amazing contributions Islam made for modern world. I think there's a book called that, or what's it called? Uh, Inventions. Okay. This is a very interesting book you guys might want to look into. Very interesting. I have it somewhere here. Um, a scientific and technological contributions from the golden age of Muslim civilization. Obviously, it came through low IQ individuals, but you know we know a little bit about universities, early surgical tools, algebra, coffee, crank connecting rod system. Zoe laid the foundation of modern surgery. First hospitals with wards and teaching centers were established in 9th century Egypt. First degree. And this is while, oh wait, really? Fez, Morocco? I didn't know this. Wow. I didn't know this. This is very interesting. Fez, Morocco. I was gonna go. I was gonna stop by. Might do it next time because I'm definitely gonna come again. Where the algebra comes from, Persian mathematician. Yeah. During this time, oh, and of course hygiene. Of course, this was during the time Europe was going through a little bit of a stone age, but it is what it is, right? The Dark Ages. They call it the Dark Ages.
He points out the ideas of IQ. Remember, we have to have a basic minimum for civilization, about 98 to 100 to 115. They don't have it. That's the distinction
98.
in our civilizations. And it's because of one value. Christians outlaw screwing your own family members. That's it. Simple. They outlawed. It's no good. And even in places where
So
it's legal,
Denmark,
you're
Bulgaria,
pandering to the ecclesiology here, Daniel, because where it's legal, they still ain't
Egypt,
banging their cousins. That's your society that
UAE.
you build. What
Wow.
you have built is a collective of some of the dumbest people on planet Earth who are at the mercy of Christians. And don't try to cope and say, no, they're at the mercy of the atheists. Give me a break. Everybody is at the mercy right now of Western nations and Western Christians, which are in them. And that includes Eastern Europe, by the way. So this is all cope. He hasn't refuted any of the arguments. How can he possibly say these low IQ societies, which Islam creates, are better than the ones Christians do on this one principle? I want to hear it.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah, so you don't need to know how AI works to be able to operate it. That's why it's a evening of the playing field. I don't know if anyone here has used AI, but you don't actually need to know how to program AI.
Look at the forced laughter.
To be able to use it. This is something that is very obvious, how AI is going to make
What a
IQ
sad
differences
person.
irrelevant in the future, and this is what all of the futurists are saying.
All right. Before we go, whoa. Let's just watch this, and then we'll close off the video. Just to remind everyone what it's like to be on the opposite side of the coin. The
And I also
Muslim
hope that we
lantern.
keep like good discourse with one another because I'm not going to insult him. And so I hope that he doesn't.
I'm not gonna go ahead and break down this video and how he rage baited him because I don't want the Muslim lantern to be but he's pretty good.
Doesn't do that with me as well, specifically and personally.
No, I made the agreement that I would not insult you.
He just wins by being calm, innocent, and just outsmarting everyone.
Personally, and I most certainly will not.
Andrew, does that sound? Does everything sound fair?
Fine. Yep,
And also his and what he's saying about too many times insulting. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah.
A few moments later.
Create new conditional dummy. That's not how it works.
We also said we weren't going to
insult you.
We said we weren't going to do the insults either, Andrew.
It's not Christianity if it's true.
We said we weren't going to do the
He's
ad
so
hominem.
pressed.
And neither one of you be lying.
We also agreed to not do the insulting and ad homs, Andrew.
Tom, come on, I call my friends all the time, Sneeko.
Okay, we're not friends.
That's
Right.
Christianity.
You said that we weren't going to do the cursing and we weren't going to get uncivil like this.
Uncivil.
We're not going to continue this if you can't be civil and curse and do this stuff.
And I also
Beautiful. All right, well, that's it for today. The last things I wrote down was strategic glazing technique and taunting, laughing when they talk. Okay, this is more of a long form video, but hope it works out, and let's stop the video there. Bye.